Steve, in
Okay.
Pennsylvania. Can I ask everybody to mute themselves unless they have a question or an answer or whatever? And the thrust of this evening's presentation will be presented by Larry, who is the program manager for the archaeology program and also the Archaeology Plus Feed the Soldiers program. I personally have done that program twice in Israel and in past years, and I can relate to you that it is the richest, most gratifying of any program I've ever been on. If you have the slightest interest in archaeology, history, ancient history, you will be operating at a level equivalent to perhaps 500 BCE, which is about the time of the destruction of the first temple when Nebuchadnezzar II invaded Jerusalem and kicked everybody out and burned the city to shreds. And this is the focus of this one site that we use in Old City, Jerusalem. So at this point, I'd like to turn over to Larry. And this is an informal session. If you have a question, raise your hand or break in somehow and pose it, because we want to make sure that everybody has a level of confidence in everything they hear. And we have several experts among us. In fact, I'm going to point out Barry and Carol. Wave your hand, Carol. These folks have done Israeli-based archaeology work for years. Now, they don't look that old, but they've been doing it for a long time, so they have plenty of experience. And I have done it myself. Anybody on who has also done the archaeology program?
Yep. Susan and Steve.
Okay, great.
Steve Russ.
Got it. So Larry may call on you folks. Yeah.
Also me, Steve. It's Diane Crummin.
Oh, Diane, hi.
Hi, Sue.
Hello. Okay.
All right.
Hi, my name is Larry Alcid. I'm the program manager for VFI Archaeology program. Today I'm going to present about our unique program in the city of David. First, I'd just like to make a mention about the Volunteers for Israel's mission. Our basic mission is to connect Americans to Israel through volunteer service. The Israelis have been really worn down physically, emotionally, and economically by over 2 years of war. Your volunteering can really make an impact in terms of their economy and their spirits. By simply showing up, you're basically telling Israelis you're with them. VFI offers 6 volunteer programs, which is a unique combination of hands-on volunteering with personalized touring provided by our experienced professional guides. These are the programs we have: Archaeology, Feed the Soldiers, a combined Archaeology and Feed the Soldiers, Rehab, Holy Land Tours, and Odyssey. I'm sure that one of these programs will spark an interest in you. The Archaeology program really provides an opportunity to immerse yourself in the history and culture of Israel. It's 5 days of hands-on volunteering and touring within the city of David archaeological dig, and then we also have 3 days of personalized touring throughout Israel. The program is perfect whether you're first time or a seasoned visitor. The program uses the Hotel Prima Royale in Jerusalem, which is basically a 10-15 minute walk from the old city. To give you an idea of what the hotel looks like, and they have a very nice Israeli breakfast that you have every morning starting around 6:30. We have Julia Newman is our tour guide, and she specializes in Jerusalem and personalized tours. She has a special knack or a gift for helping you to get a deeper understanding for the land of Israel and the people. To give you an idea of a sample itinerary for the archaeology program, you'll be meeting with tour guide Julia on Friday, which is the first day of the program, for a late afternoon and dinner at the hotel, and there'll be an orientation. The work week in Israel is Sunday through Thursday, so Saturday will be a touring day. Following the Israeli breakfast, Julia will take the group on a tour of Jerusalem, and later that evening meet with one of the archaeologists who'll give an orientation to the city of David. Then Sunday through Thursday, generally wake up around 6:30. We get to the site by 7:30. You're working, doing digging, sifting, and cleaning pottery. Break for lunch around 11, then continue working till about 2:30 or 3. After that, you're free to tour, go around the city, very close to the old city over there. During the week, you'll also have some tours on site by some of the archaeological staff. Then Friday and Saturday, the last 2 days of the program, will be private touring with Julia, some in Jerusalem and some in different areas of Israel. And then we have a goodbye dinner late Saturday afternoon, and then get to the airport for your return flight. The City of David and Givati parking lot archaeological dig is one of the most important digs in Israel at the present time. And you're mostly going to be working at the level of the First Temple. Professor Yuval Gadot is from Tel Aviv University. He's the lead archaeologist, and he's also the head of the Department of Archaeology in Tel Aviv. The City of David is located just south of the southern wall of the old city and the Dung Gate, and it's considered, again, a very important excavation. I'd like to give you some feel for the Givati parking lot, which I've got a brief video. The Givati parking lot literally was a parking lot, and then when they were doing some repairs, started to find some remains, and it became a major site. So I'd just like to give you an idea of where you'll be working. And you can see here there are different levels from different civilizations, and the deeper they go, the more civilizations are uncovered. You can see the difference in the stone might have something to do with different civilizations. And when I was there, we were digging at around 500 to 600 BCE, around the time of the destruction of the First Temple. You can see the enormity of the dig. Okay. This is a sample of something they found. It's believed to be the northern wall from the old city of Jerusalem. And you can see the different levels. And here I've got a couple of videos of some of the volunteers hard at work. This happens to be one of the archaeologists, Efrat, who's kind of giving some suggestions how to use some of the tools. Here's another one of her students, hard at work. And here we have, this is the sifting section, where all these buckets are filled, dirt and rocks and shards, and you sift through to try to basically get what might be significant. It's a bit tedious, but it's very important. Okay, and this is a video taken by one of the archaeologists to give an idea of work that some of our recent group in November was involved in.
You do, but not in this video. This video is meant to show the volunteers are working.
Just the embedded charcoal?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Put it with the charcoal?
Put it with the charcoal. Yeah. Let the people deal with charcoal, make the evaluation. Good eye. Good eye. Yeah.
Once again, you're digging at a level of about 800 BCE.
What's your mission statement? Clear away.
This kind of down to that level right there.
Right.
And pottery some. I think my bones were mostly over in this area.
Oh, so
Pottery and charcoal.
wow. Okay. Who knows what was going on here? What you got there, Steve? What are you all doing in there?
Well, I am just cleaning this corner here. We just need to understand if this is an actual wall. Maybe it's fill or just collapse of some sort. Finding interesting stuff. This piece of pottery is nice. A pretty large piece.
That's a pretty large piece, and you put two pieces together.
Like, oh.
Nice. You can work in the reparations.
And then this vertebra.
Wow.
Most likely goat, according to an expert.
Oh, very nice. Whose name is Sullivan, which is white sheep. Okay.
And over here now we have an illustration of a map of the site, and you can see the numbers and what they refer to each one of these numbers as a separate locus. And when you're digging, you'll be digging in one of these sites. So for instance, this picture would be one of those sites. Let's say, for instance, it was 8424. And then every bucket that you fill there with dirt, with rocks, with artifacts, has that number. And it's very important because then the archaeologists, when they look at everything, are able to determine or get an idea of what they're finding and what level it is. So it's their way of organizing it. This happened to be one that I found that I was very impressed with, these handles to some kind of vase or jug. And I was told, yeah, that we've got thousands of those. And that what would be more important is if they could find some kind of insignia on it, which wasn't, but I was impressed with it, at least. And this gives you some idea of the buckets of the product of your labor for the day. There's somebody working in doing the in one of the sites. Okay, and I found this was a cute thing that someone had given to me. The novice archaeologist fantasy when you're going on your first dig would be, I'm going to unearth some very rare ancient coins. I'm going to find, like Indiana Jones, I'm going to find something very valuable. However, the reality is basically you're finding broken pottery, bone fragments, and pieces of junk, more like this. So here we are going through Hezekiah's tunnel. You see how cramped it is. And it really is a marvel or a feat of engineering that 1,000 and 1,500 years BCE, they were able to construct this. And they started working from both sides of the mountain, the east side and the west side, and they were able to chisel through with
you see how they made
and
it
meat.
turn? They realized, oh, this can't go straight. Then turned a bit further, still wasn't good enough. They turned a bit further, and then they turned like another turn. And I am totally like overwhelmed at how they did it. I have no clue how would they have known to make the turn. Really a mystery to me.
And when you leave Hezekiah's tunnel, it comes into what I thought was the Pool of Siloam, but it was actually more of a Byzantine pool over here. Here, however, is the Pool of Siloam, which is a short walk from the exit. And this is the Pool of Siloam is referenced in the Bible. It's something that they've only recently found. And particularly if you see these steps, that is something that is mentioned in the Bible. In the Bible, it talks about when people would come to the temple, they would first go to the Pool of Siloam where they would bathe, cleanse ritualistically, and then they would walk up the pilgrim's path to get to the temple. And here we're going to show some pictures of actually going up the pilgrimage road, which this was before it was actually open to the public. And it recently was opened in a ceremony with both Secretary of State Marco Rubio present and also our ambassador to Israel. And so if you can see where the red star is, that's the pool of Siloam. And then you walk up this path, which is about 3/4 of a mile, and you end up at the southwestern base of the temple. And this was our guide, Yochanan. And you can see at the beginning of the path where we're standing, they have these kind of booths, which would have been all the way going up the whole trail. And so these stones are from that era, 1000 BCE. And what happened is this is underground, and in order to preserve the village that is up on top, they had to have all these steel structures. So in biblical times, this would have been open air. And here's looking down through the Pilgrim's Path. And then the final section of the path is still being worked on. So you had to exit the path and go through what was a waterway. And that ended up at the southwestern base of the Temple Mount. And this is an experience that I don't believe is open to the general public. I have to say, going through Hezekiah's Tunnel, going to the Pool of Siloam, up the Pilgrim's Path, and then ending at the southwest base of the temple was just probably one of the most incredible days of my life. It was an incredible experience, and it's kind of hard to put into words. But I know that other people who've done it feel the same way. Okay, and this is just to give you an idea of where things are at in terms of this program and where we just went. This is a diagram of the old city of Jerusalem, and where this gold pin is most people would be familiar with the Jaffa Gate. If you go due east, you end up in the Western Wall Plaza, and then if you go south, you're at the Dung Gate, and also the Archaeological Park and Robinson's Arch. Okay, so you leave the Dung Gate, you cross the street, and 5 minutes away is the city of David. And then that's where you'll be working. The tour that I just showed you, we go over to the Gihon Spring and Hezekiah's Tunnel, and then that ends in the Pool of Siloam. And then you walk up the Pilgrim's Path, and you end up at the southwest corner of the temple. Okay. If you do decide to go on this trip, or even if you don't, I would certainly recommend a book that happened to have actually been published while I was there in May by Doron Spielman, called When the Stones Speak. It's got incredible praise from somebody like David Friedman, the former United States ambassador to Israel, and also Michael Oren, Israel's former ambassador to the United States. It's a very easy read, and I would definitely recommend it. Doron Spielman has been integrally involved for many years with the city of David. Okay, so now if some of the pragmatic things, if you decide that this is for you, which I hope you do, there are 4 vital steps in order to apply and ensure your position. The first is a $500 refundable deposit to VFI. And all this information is on the website. There are different payment options we have. The second step would be to complete your application and agreement forms. And again, you can find it on the website, vfi-usa.org. A third step would be make sure your travel documents are in order. Passport needs to be valid for at least 6 months after your arrival date. And over the last year, there was a new visa requirement for travel to Israel. It's called the ETA-IL, Electronic Travel Authorization. You can do it online. It's simple. We have a link on the website. It costs about $7, and it's good for 2 years. And then finally, you need to make sure that you have medical insurance, that you're covered while you're in Israel. For many of us who have Medicare, it does not cover outside the United States. So we do have a woman who has been very helpful to us called Myra Altschuler at Travel Protectors LLC, and you're able to get coverage for the time period there. It's very, very reasonable. So you definitely need to look into that. Okay. So I hope that I've been able to convey some of the excitement and the enthusiasm I had being involved with this program. The BFI Archaeology Volunteer Program is very unique in that it combines the volunteering with the touring. And also, if you enjoy history, if you have a sense of connection with Israel, there's nothing else like it. Other people who've been through this have just described it as exceeding expectations. It's an intersection of history, archaeology, and the Bible. So I encourage you to look into it if you have any interest at all. Thank you, and hope to see you in Jerusalem. I guess I'd like to open it up to people to see if they've got questions. And I don't know if, yeah, I see.
The larger the jug handle, the smaller the jug. That's real. So if you find something this big, it was probably attached to something that held water or oil or maybe perfumers. That probably held some kind of makeup. Sometimes you find glass in little vials and they held perfume. Usually they're broken, but I have a lot of them and I love them. This is a mosaic from the floor. Israel's covered with them, and some places they're in color and they're beautiful patterns. If you've been to the Israel Museum or any other archaeological display, you've seen a lot of mosaic.
Carol, can you tell us the story about the bananas?
Oh, yeah. We were digging at Megiddo, I don't know, 15 years ago. Megiddo's in, I guess, toward the north. And I was digging the outer edge of a wall, and I started to see something that wasn't the color of the sand or the wall. And it turns out it looked like a bone. And the more I dug, the more bone I found. It was kind of horizontal, and maybe two of them, one on top of the other. And I called the archaeologist over, because almost every square has someone who's in charge of what you do. And he said, stop digging. Those are legs. And he said, don't say anything to anybody. And people came over and he said, don't talk about it. Don't say what you saw. If anybody asks you, you found bananas. Why bananas? Because the assumption is when you find bones that they were probably Jewish bones, even though these preceded the they were Canaanite. Yeah, Canaanite. But they want to assume that, and they will stop the dig. So you don't want that to happen. You don't want it on your neck. So you just say, found bananas, if anybody asks you what you've been doing the last half hour. Another comment. Digging in Israel was the best thing I've ever done in my life. I've done some interesting things. I've got 3 kids and a husband, all that stuff. But digging takes you out of yourself. There's no computer, there's no fax, there's no boss telling you, I need you to do something right away. There's no kids saying, I need to go somewhere. There's no groceries you have to buy. It's all so simple. You're just focused on what you're doing. And it's just an amazing experience. I don't know what you do in your real life, but it's nothing like this. And that's what's so good.
I don't know if there's other questions, but I was going to ask, I know Steve, is that Marcy?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so you can ask your question. And I invited some people who just came back a few weeks ago, so I wonder if they wanted to maybe share some of their what the trip was like for them. But so Marcy, what question did you have?
I had a question for Carol and Barry. Hi there, guys. Nice to see you. But actually, you just answered my question, because I was wondering, how do you take that through customs? But
I don't know.
the question was answered. Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
So Steve, you're and Diane, you were both went on the trip recently, and I know you had some positive experiences. Do you want to share anything, any special anecdotes?
Absolutely. Steve actually was the only person this trip who found something that was significant. But on my last trip, which was 3 years ago, also in the Givati parking lot, I found a Byzantine Charles bronze bracelet.
Whoa.
Obviously, I could not take it home. I do have the archaeologists all came running, and I said, "Oh, is this worth anything?" And it was like, "Oh my God." So this time I said, I really would like to know where it ended up, because they had told me originally it's going to be in a museum someplace. Well, 3 years later, I got the same answer. It's going to be in a museum someplace. So we can find things. The pottery is still accessible in the garbage pails. Not quite as extensive a supply as we had at different eras, because we were digging in, as it turned out, we just found out, I guess this week, from one of the archaeologists who was with us, that we were digging in the at least Sue and I were in the Hasmonean times, which is pretty much bedrock in the City of David parking lot. And while we found some pottery shards, that was about it. But Steve, maybe you want to relate what you found?
Sure, yeah, I'd be happy to. I could talk about this for quite a long time, so I'm going to try to be brief. But if you are a history buff, this is going to be a great experience. So yeah, just to answer Diane's question, I found what is called a loom weight. It is a weight that pulls the wool thread as it's being woven into clothing. So it was from the first temple period, which is the Iron Age. And I mean, to be the first person to hold that in 2,700 years is just a very special experience. Overall, the City of David site, what was referred to as the Givati parking lot site, it's a fantastic site. You will see every strata, every layer. You'll start, you'll go through Roman and Hasmonean and Greek, and what's before that? I can't even recall. And there's, eventually getting down to the First Temple period, Second Temple, First Temple, Herod. It's astonishing. In addition, we did some truly amazing tours. We did the Pilgrim's Path, which has just been in the news. It's the path that ancient pilgrims took to reach the Temple Mount. So, Jews, ancestors of ours, walked this path at every festival. And so walking again now was just incredibly moving. We did Hezekiah's Tunnel, as mentioned. One of the archaeologists on site gave us an amazing talk on pottery. We visited the southern corner of the Western Wall, which is not open to the general public. We toured the Eastern Wall, the Old City, the Christian Quarter, the Armenian Quarter, the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. We went to the excavation under the Western Wall Plaza, which is
Brand new.
Fantastic. So moving. I was fortunate enough to get a private tour with two of the other volunteers. Diane Yochanan gave us a private tour of the drainage channel under the Pilgrim's Path. And so that was where the Jews hid from the Romans as the Romans were essentially taking over the city. It was just spectacular. And we did some other fun things. We did a sound and light tour at the City of David Visitor Center that tells about the return of Nehemiah from Babylon to rebuild the city of Jerusalem. Super fun. And then we did a bunch of other tours. We visited an artist who does
Tiles.
Yeah, the tiles. She hand paints these beautiful tiles. And we went to the Israel Tank Museum and the Israel Air Force Museum. And I'm sorry, that's actually not in the archaeology portion, but in the feeding the soldiers portion. And that was just special in itself. I mean, that was incredibly moving. Maybe I'll stop. Susan, did you want to add anything?
No, Steve, you did a great job. But I would add the Bullet Factory. If you haven't been there, it's been, we went to the 9/11 memorial, but my trips are like now like blending into one. What part was with Feed the Soldiers and what had to do with the archaeology. But we were blessed to work with Barnea. I think he was amazing. And it was, if you folks out there are thinking of doing this, don't miss it. It's a once in a lifetime opportunity.
Yes.
And
Yes.
when you return to the States and you look back on it, it becomes even more special. You know, when you're in the moment, you're there. But when you come back and reflect on it all, it's astonishing, really.
All right, any other questions? Anyone want to challenge the accuracy of what we just heard? Because you folks seem so biased. I don't know what it is. Oh, I know what it is.
Question, how about language or speaking with people? Is there any barriers?
No.
Well, you have to speak Akkadian and ancient something. No.
Sumerian.
Everybody you'll deal with will probably speak English, including the archaeologists. Go ahead, Larry, with your impression.
Yeah, no, I was going to say a lot of the people we were working with there were some people, at least I found, that were from England,
Yeah.
Canada, the United States. There are a lot of Americans who've made Aliyah, and then the archaeologists. One was from France, and she spoke pretty good English, and a couple of Israelis spoke English. They're pretty good, you know. So it
In
shouldn't
other
be a
words, you
problem.
don't have to speak Hebrew.
Yeah,
Right.
not a problem.
Right.
Nice if you
Yeah,
can.
even going around, like, as you're touring or things like that, most Israelis, can communicate with you in English.
Yeah.
I figure I can use sign language too if I really have to. So.
Have to be Hebrew Sign Language, though. American ASL does not work there.
No, so for people who are set up to go, or people who are planning to go, we will. I mean, I've been speaking to most people, but we will have like an orientation meeting, within 2 weeks, to talk about some of the pragmatics in terms of things you want to bring along. Like I always found it helpful, you need to bring long pants, good shoes, knee pads, gloves, that kind of stuff. They do provide hard hats.
They also provided gloves.
They did? Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
I brought my own. No, I think I brought my own gloves.
Yeah.
And then left them there.
And I thought one of the cool things there was the lunches. You ate with the other workers, and usually one of the younger staff people there would prepare it, and they took turns, and we all ate together. And that was kind of a really nice experience sitting with them, the people.
Ours was totally different.
Yeah.
Was it? What
Yes.
was yours?
We
depends on
ate in the near the
There.
It's a picnic area in the city of David.
it's a picnic area, and the food was brought in for us.
I did have one question. I'm sorry to interrupt.
Sure. Yeah.
Where do you stay?
We have been staying, and I believe we still will stay. It's a hotel called the Prima Royale. It's close to King David Street. I'm blocking on the name of the street it's on, but it's we used to walk to Jaffa Gate. It was maybe 10-15 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's very well located.
It's between the Inbal Hotel and the King David, so you're surrounded by 5-star hotels.
Right.
Yeah. The difference in the food is that in Larry's case, it was a very small group. When the group exceeds the size of something like 6 or 8, the lunches are catered, kosher, and very good.
Yes.
And delivered in that picnic area across the street from where the dig is.
Right.
And that was a highlight, actually, the quality of the food for lunch, which you had around 11 o'clock in the morning because you started work so early.
Yeah. That's right. We had a small group, so we were on a stipend.
Yeah, it was
And we
different.
spent most of the stipend in one meal at the King David. So
What do they
starved the
got
rest
for
of the week.
bathroom?
Pardon?
What do they have for bathrooms?
At
They
the site?
don't.
Across the street. You can go across the street.
Yeah, across the street, the visitor center for the
Yeah.
city of David. Yeah.
It,
It's a little bit, 5-10 minutes, to walk, but it's, it wasn't
you have to
difficult.
climb all the way up to get
Don't
back.
worry, you'll be dehydrated. Don't worry, you won't need to go.
Wasn't that bad.
It wasn't that bad. I mean, I'm somebody who usually needs to be near a bathroom, and I don't think I needed one when I was there. Because you are basically dehydrating, and
Interesting.
yeah.
Guys, I've got to go, but I just want to end by saying you should absolutely do this. It was a great experience.
Totally agree. And Steve and I
Thank you,
done
Steve.
this to each other. And
And
then
look, from what I could tell from some of the videos and the WhatsApp, that you guys really formed a nice group.
we
Nice
were
bunch.
such a
Really got
great
along
group.
well.
It was a great group, and we accomplished a lot
We
and worked
did.
well together. Whether we were with the soldiers and feeding them or at the dig, we were a good team, I thought. Right, Diane?
I think so.
Yeah.
I'm glad it went well. Thanks, Steve. All
Yes,
right.
Steve.
I guess,
Great.
Mhm.
does
Well, thanks
anybody
for
have any
joining us.
questions about anything about application or anything like that? Or no?
Yeah.
Okay.
Larry's presentation
I have a
will be
question, sir.
available.
Sure. Who's that?
Go ahead.
To participate in
Oh.
this program, do we need to be on the Jewish faith, or
No,
can any?
No.
no.
No, it's any religion. There doesn't matter. We don't talk about politics. We don't talk about religion. It's for anybody, and just as long as you want to be involved,
Yeah, about 30% of Volunteer for Israel's volunteers are not Jewish. And they are extremely hard workers, volunteers. They might or might not be Zionists. That doesn't really matter. The key thing is that they follow the same rules as everybody else, and they're volunteers, and we love them.
On our trip, we were almost 50% Christian and 50% Jewish,
Yep.
but 100% behind Israel.
Yeah. Yeah, and also there is no requirement for vaccinations as there was during the COVID years. You do have to get this Israeli visa, which costs $7, and you do it, just follow the instructions on the website. If it takes you more than 5 minutes, there's something wrong. But you do have to do that. It's one of the steps.
One last question, sir.
Sure.
For medical insurance, I do have TRICARE. Is that acceptable there?
TRICARE, medical, you mean military TRICARE?
Correct.
Yeah. I don't have an answer to that. I think maybe if you inquire of them, if they state specifically they will cover you for worldwide travel, which is possible, then you'd be okay. But you still have to carry proof of that insurance with you. And if you can't get an answer, then for 60 to 80 bucks, you can just solve the problem by calling that lady that we deal with for health insurance in Israel.
Quite honestly, I had a secondary United Healthcare that did cover overseas, but I still figured, I think I got it was maybe $50 or $60. I said it's money well spent to have both of them.
Well, the supplementary insurance usually only covers you for $50,000. The AARP, Larry, right?
This one was through.
I took
It was through a
original
union,
ones.
and so they did cover, and there's also some credit cards covered. But I think for $50, $60,
I agree.
it's
I agree. We all
money
took
well spent.
Yeah.
Thank you.
This program has just got so much interesting, unique content. We don't know anybody else who's doing this sort of thing anywhere with a combination of touring at the price point we're talking about, not $10,000, and covering
Julia
the
is
tour.
fabulous. She's always.
Yeah, Julia is a wizard. Julia is the tour guide that manages our in Israel work, and she is a genius. In fact, if you ask Julia a question and she doesn't know the answer, it was probably a bad question because that woman has a magnetic mind.
She's unbelievable. Yeah.
Well, what I also liked about her is maybe because we were a small group, but she was flexible.
Yeah, that's another
So what
thing.
happens is you have sometimes you've got a lot of people who've been to Israel a number of times. Sometimes you've got people who haven't been at all. And she tries to, do the tours based on what the interest and the needs are. And so she did some very unique stuff with us. And she's very, very flexible that way. Like we were up in the north, and we were up in Tiberias, and we were coming down to Jerusalem, and my friend said, well, can we go to the Kinneret and go to the beach? And she says, yeah, sure. So we spent the morning at the beach in the Kinneret.
Yeah,
And
no,
then
that's true.
another day, it was one of the last days, I asked her, because I had some family that was from Israel from centuries ago, and they were actually buried in the Mount of Olives. So I said,
Wow.
do you think we could go there? And so we went, and we had trouble finding stuff, but she said, yeah, let's take an hour or two. And we went, and we walked through the Mount of Olives and looking at the cemeteries and graves. And, and then she took us down to, the Gaza envelope that day, and, to where the festival had been. And it was just, it was a trip. I've been to Israel 6 times, 7 times, and this was one of the most memorable, and that's
Yeah,
why I wanted to get more involved. I'd like to help people to experience what I experienced down there,
Mm.
and
right.
I think it's
Yeah.
like almost like a little bit of a fraternity or a fraternal organization where people who've gone to the city of David, there's not that many of us, and you've experienced something special,
Yeah.
People go for
Yeah.
one day, but the fact that we were there for a week makes it extra special and
Right.
memorable. So
Yes.
if you have the opportunity, go.
Yeah. And Julia is our secret sauce. And
Yes.
Yes, she's terrific.
so great. Well, let's wrap for this
Knows every
evening.
jewelry store.
What's
Let's wrap
that?
for this evening.
I said she knows every jewelry store, which is
Yes.
not really good for some of us.
Did she take you to the Mariah jewelry store?
Oh
Oh,
yeah,
yes, that was the
that was
last
last
trip.
trip. Yeah,
Yeah,
another
that was
trip.
last trip. This time it was Evolve, which is like, forget it. I single-handedly, no, Sue also contributed to the economy of Israel.
Yes,
So,
I do.
Have fun.
have fun.
Paris, yeah.
Yes.
Have a great, safe trip. And thanks for your work, and Steve, Larry, we appreciate what you do.